we will never survive. I have done all I can to protect my family. Today, I buried my wife. Now I fear for my child.
Tarzan truly is one of the most iconic fictional characters of all time. He first appeared in a magazine in 1912 with a novel on his adventures following 2 years later. In 1918, he arrived on the big screen. Over time, he popped up in radio shows, TV series, and many more movies and books. Now, his latest adventure, The Legend of Tarzan, has arrived in cinemas.
I've loved him since I was a little boy. I would watch the old Johnny Weissmuller movies. Not that I was born in 1923, but my dad introduced me to Tarzan when I was a little boy.
I saw him as a kid when I was growing up on the telly. The BBC used to run old Tarzan movies, and they were charming and endearing.
My version of Tarzan was the Disney animated film, which I loved. And this is obviously nothing like that. Well, not nothing. I mean, we still kind of have similar elements, I suppose. But I hadn't seen a live-action version of Tarzan before.
My earliest memory of Tarzan had to do with me being growing up in France. Early 80s, I think there was a Christophe Lambert Tarzan Greystoke.
The Legend of Tarzan really is a fantastical story. Set in the jungle and featuring piles of wildlife, there's a whole lot of CGI involved. And making the beasts come to life was one mammoth task.
So I'd have a teams of animators all around the world, in Canada, in the UK, and in California. And we'd develop these animals over a period of months. And we'd always use real-world references. So we had the great privilege of watching all these natural history programs with David Attenborough, just looking at how real animals behave and using that as a guide and as a template to see what a real hippo does when it comes out of the water. And that would be the inspiration for us and the animators to make it real as possible.
You are Tarzan.
You may not like who you were. You may have enemies there, but you need to go home.
As mentioned, all the animals in the film are made with CGI. But that's not all that's fake. In fact, so much is done with movie-making tricks, pretty much the only real thing about the movie are Alexander Skarsgård's abs. The story takes place in Africa, and even though they shot some of it over there, the majority was filmed on a soundstage in the UK.
So we built some amazing sets with waterfalls and rivers and sets that the actors could walk on. And they were so amazing that these sets would have their own microclimate after a while. So all these insects would start appearing on our sets. And then we would wrap around footage from the real Africa in Gabon. So you had a combination of amazing foreground sets designed by Stuart Craig and the best of Gabon in Africa.
Check out The Legend of Tarzan, as he's just swung into a theater near you.
A normal man can do the impossible to save the woman he loves. My husband is no normal man.